What up, mate, and welcome to Rain-Eater, a mine swamped littered with perils straight from the mine to South Pole. It has been featured in RMCT 5 and will be the battleground of the quarterfinals for Artilea and New Wool. Loaded with lockdowns, mobs, and traps, Rain-Eater will punish every mistake, no matter how small. For those not up to speed on Rain-Eater, this is a quick and concise tour to catch you up. Players begin by plummeting into the swamp. They'll have access to gear from the many chests around the starting hut, including weapons, food, and blocks. Players can then pass under the 3 victory monument trees, avoiding a spectacular safari of leaping silverfish, before being faced with the choice of either crossing the valley or joining it at the bottom. Those who choose the latter may take refuge in a cave towards spawn that contains some quick resources. Down lane, another cave reveals a vertical shaft down to first wool, the Great Burning Nullifier. To complete this dungeon, players will have to brave an onslaught of arrows and TNT as the majority of the wool is exposed to the other lane. What brief respite from PvP pressure the player gets is instantly nullified by a barrage of mobs and narrow corridors. These aspects have made this wool dungeon the ideal lockdown spot for most teams. However, players with their width larger than their bow shots have always been able to break through the assault and claim victory over their opponents. For those choosing to cross the gap, a crumbling village awaits. Scattered throughout the ruins are lots of basic gear, scraps of armor, and other useful items. Entering the pavilion can grant access to the mine shaft. This contains a bulk of resources with potion, enchanting, and TNT supplies, as well as some blocks of iron and gold. However, these resources aren't just given out for free. Players will have to overcome arrow fire from the other team, as well as any mobs that may spawn. Past the village and over the water, players will reach a pyramid. This is the host of the second wool, a shrine to madness. This temple of pain descends through 7 levels of increasingly brutal PvE challenges. While it isn't heavily exposed to arrow and cannon fire, the challenges presented by this dungeon require players to think quick and often in order to not succumb to its brutality. Further up lane, another pavilion marks the entrance to the diamond resources. This cave is lined with spawners, but rewards those who brave the challenges with a huge surplus of diamond blocks and ore. Unlike the previous resources, this cave has almost no exposure to PvP pressure, meaning that obtaining these diamonds is just a race against the map that other players cannot hinder. If one continues down lane much further, they'll cease to encounter anything at all, as the terrain gives way to a rather large drop into a sprawling shared lane. Some loot is scattered around the periphery, but the centerpiece is sure to draw our eyes. Third wool, into the upper black. This massive pyramid is a dark and gloomy 3D maze laced with natural spawns and spawners. There is only one way in, and although there are several paths you can take to thread your way through to the wool room, both teams have to finish up in the same room at the top of the pyramid. Sneaking in is only half the trouble. If a player dies on the way out, their inventory and any wool they are carrying is now fair game for the other team to snatch. Historically, teams have taken a more stealth-style approach to the dungeon. Sneak in when the other team is busy elsewhere, and sneak out as fast as possible. But if a team does decide to set up shop, the other team could be treated to rather brutal melee battles.